it being after the committee meetings, we'll call the board meeting to order. Agenda review and disposition.
I will need the non-public for a personnel issue, and I believe the chair has a collective bargaining issue.
Yes. The minutes from March 20th were given to us unless there are any corrections or amendments.
I abstain on those.
You want to abstain? All right. They stand approved as written with Ross abstaining. Ben had to take off. So, Mr. Halloran, you're on.
Yes, let me start with the legislative update. The key bill down there right now is still Senate Bill 193, which is the scholarship bill. Some call it a voucher bill, some call it a choice bill. That is in the House Finance Committee, going through all kinds of machinations. So I'm not sure the status of it, but it is a heavily discussed bill, and your School Boards Association has taken a pretty strong stance against Senate Bill 193. There were a tremendous number of bills having to do with education, and I think that Barrett Christina of your School Boards Association has done a terrific job mailing you on a weekly basis the update of all the legislators. So I'm not going to recreate the wheel here and go through them all, but I would call your attention to those school board bulletins and the information. If you want any of those bills, you just have to do the clicking, and it'll come right for you. So if you're not getting that, all you need to do is call the School Boards Association and give them your email address, and I'm sure that they'll get it right out to you. And you're full-fledged members of the State School Board Association. Board vacancy, as you know, we posted the Rumney board vacancy on a local newspaper and on everywhere we could. We still have that vacancy. So I would ask if there's any Rumney residents who are interested in serving until the next election, that they get in touch with the SAU office, and we will forward all inquiries to the board chair for the board to look them over and make a decision on filling that.
So you've had no one express an interest?
No one up until this time, but hopefully somebody will show some interest, and I will get that name to you as quickly as possible. And that's my report, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Mr. Parsons.
Madam Chair, I think I covered everything in the subcommittee, so it should come out with all my changes and stuff. Thank you.
All right.
You guys had approved a couple of weeks ago, and they would like to report out on how that went. Troy?
Thank you very much. Hi, as you just heard, I'm Troy Tedeschi, our TSA chapter president. This is Lydia, she is our chapter reporter. And this is Jasmine, she is our chapter secretary. And so what Jasmine is passing out is just, since we're here in the cafeteria, there's no real way for us to show a nice PowerPoint, so we printed it out on a piece of paper for you guys. So you can just take a look at it as we talk. All right.
Thank you. All right, so just while she's kind of passing around, I'll just kind of sort of go over a little itinerary and the agenda of kind of what we did while we were there. It was at Attitash Grand Summit in Bartlett, New Hampshire. 21 of us attended, with 5 not in attendance, but they still are on the team as well. To prepare for the conference, we attended the fall rally, which I'll touch upon later. We found rubrics, researched designs, and collected supplies, and also fundraising, including lollipop sales, and we're planning more fundraising opportunities for the coming years as well. We built samples, tested our robots, and we also organized portfolios and completed our lead resumes. There was 16 schools in all attended, 11 high schools and 5 middle schools, including Plymouth and Campton from within the SAU.
And on the following page, we have a brief agenda of what the state conference looks like, just to kind of give you an idea on really how packed our schedules really are, that we spend every moment pretty much competing with a slight break just for eating.
We ended up placing in 9 categories, and we came home with 10 trophies. 8 of them are here, and we're missing 2 from our systems control technology or robotics, a first and second place trophy.
So, TSA involves a lot of different events that you can sign up for. It's not like a set that you show up and this is what you're going to do. You sign up for events prior. One example being on-demand video. Would you like
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little more. So that this year, because our chapter has grown so much from last year, we actually ended up having 2 on-demand teams. One of us, our first team was, our first team consisted of mainly juniors and seniors and people who participated in on-demand last year. And our other team was the sophomores and freshmen who ended up placing 3rd with their video.
Another one that us two are very proud of is structural design and engineering, which in essence is we build a bridge and they go in and they test it, they weigh how much it is, and then they crush it, and basically they figure out how effective the bridge is. There's a lot involved in that. We have to create a prototype beforehand, and then we go and on the spot they give us a prompt and we create the bridge there. And we also have to create a portfolio that outlines the designs for our pre-built and explain the potential faults and the strengths of our pre-built.
Yep. So this year, our structure held that, and that is one of the trusses. The carrier structure that's coming around on the other side is part of our bridge. Yeah, I can send you that. Thank you. So this is part of our bridge, and this is the carrier structure aspect of it. And so there are 2 aspects, one which is the actual bridge, which you guys see there, and the other is the carrier structure. And this year, between our bridge and our carrier structure, that's the actual prototype from this year. That was, I believe, last year's prototype. But this year we held 26, I believe? No, 56. 56 pounds. And our structure weighed, what, about 5 grams? Something like that. So, very light structure, but it held about 57 pounds. So we were very proud about that.
Another event, a good portion of us, I'm so sorry. Another event, a good portion of us end up being involved in technology problem solving. So this is an event you do once you get there. So you're given a prompt and you have to figure out how to solve the prompt given the materials that you came with and also ones provided to you.
So we're given things like note cards, like pipe cleaners, straws, and they tell us to make a car, make a boat that can go this distance, but not past this distance. And we have to stand in lines to test it. So the chances of you really getting to test it that often are very slim, and then you are judged.
And this year's prompt was to build a structure that would carry a small marble down a structure and carry it about the length of the table, except it couldn't fall off the table, because if it fell off the table, you got disqualified?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got disqualified if it went off the table. And so using our notepads, our note cards, and our balloons, and our washers, we had to attempt to build a carrier structure. And I believe it was John and Austin came in second.
Yes.
Yeah, came in second, and out of 30 teams from around the state. So we were very proud of them.
Moving on, you can see on the next page there are pictures of system control technology and animatronics. These are 2 events that I've done for so many years now. And the first I'll cover right now is animatronics. And this is my animatronics project. He's a little falling apart because that's, us rides get bumpy. That's okay. And what the prompt was to design something to be placed in a child's museum, specifically a children's zoo. And so I decided, rare animals are hard to find, so I decided to make a silly little sloth. And so I'm not going to turn him on right now because some of the wires are disconnected, but on the inside he is fully made of Lego Mindstorms and Robotics, which is what we use for another event, System Control Technology, where you're given a prompt there and have to create a program, design it, tested everything using what you have. For us, we used Lego Mindstorms in order to achieve that prompt. And my partner Austin and I came in first, and our other team of 2 sophomores came in second.
Wow.
Yep.
Another major event that we participated in this year is Chapter Team, which essentially we hold a mock meeting. So we did what you guys do on a regular basis, and we took first in that.
Yeah.
And we even, this year, the man who judged us, he had been judging for like 30 years, and he always judged this event, and he created a handmade gavel that we also won with our first place trophy.
In addition to a few of the events we compete in, we also have our very own state reporter, Troy.
Yes. So I am what is one of our state officers for TSA. I ran last year and was elected. Well, I'll get on that later. So each year there's a set of state officers who are chosen to plan all of the spring conference, the fall rally, different fundraisings for state TSA, not just within the chapter, but for the whole state. And I ran my junior year for vice president. I lost, but I was then appointed as a state reporter because they were missing a person who could participate. But with that, we helped plan everything. It's an opportunity that I highly recommend to anybody in TSA. It was a lot of fun, got to meet new people, work with new people, and do all of these fun, amazing things to plan for the entire state.
So you can see a photo of him on that slide, actually sitting at the business meeting. You also see another photo of him being pied in the face.
What's that all about?
I wanted to explain that. We don't just assault our state officers. One of the things we do is we do a statewide fundraiser, and I believe, statewide fundraiser. And I believe this year went to cancer research?
Yes, the American Cancer Society.
So TSA every year takes on a specific charity that we fundraise for year round, and this year that was the cancer research. And the pie in the face is something that happens at every state conference in New Hampshire, at least.
Who threw the
that-
pie?
The one,
The one,
his mom.
His mama?
Because how it works is it's a raffle tickets, so you buy your tickets and they get pulled out of a hat, and
Really?
somebody got lucky.
She got very lucky. We were all very happy for her. But this year, New Hampshire State TSA raised what, $1,000
About, yes.
for the
Good deal.
American Cancer Society.
And then we also have some other events that are, not the best pictures since it's just kids working on computers, but they're for coding and CAD 2D architecture, which are events that you're given a prompt there and you work on it. Say, especially for coding, you go in, you program the entire thing, and you're judged for that. We took home second, I believe, second for that with my friend Austin. And the other event, which you can see holding up the trophies, was CAD 2D architecture, where you, using the CAD software, design a building and then have to physically design it with a model as well.
The next thing you'll see is debating technological issues. So one of the things TSA encourages is STEM education, science, technology, education, and mathematics, but engineering, thank you. But it also encourages languages. So one of the things you can do is extemporaneous speech. I've done this for 3 years, 4 years now. And you go and you're given a topic on site and you're given 5 minutes and you have to prepare a speech. Well, this year I didn't partake in that, and we did debating technological issues. So John Ulrichson, who's one of Mr. Parsons and Mr. Howland's very own presidency students, we debated issues about whether corporations should be allowed to have your data. So when you go online, whether you have to sign off on an agreement or something like that. And so we were given 15 minutes, I believe, to prepare. And we had to launch into a debate about it. So that's that photo you see there is us preparing for it.
The next event would be Dragster. None of us here participated in it, but we had a lot of freshmen new to TSA come and participate in this. You essentially build a CO2 car
you build a CO2 car and then you get there and they test it, and whoever goes the furthest distance? Fastest, sorry, my bad. Whoever goes the fastest places.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Boy Scout Pinewood Derby, if you've ever heard of that. Just like that, except with canisters that shoot your tire at 15 miles an hour.
So far we've talked about mostly things that you do on the spot at the conference, but there are also many events that you do beforehand, like completely prior. And those are drop-off events,
Yes.
like animatronics.
Yeah.
If you want to elaborate.
Yes, drop-off events are the majority of what we do at our TSA meetings. Those events are often bigger, have more requirements, have a lot more criteria to meet. I know animatronics is one. This is the one I work on all year, preparing, designing, changing, and really everything. And then the architecture event is also a drop-off where the freshman team who worked on this spent a majority of their time in meetings working on this event, designing, researching, everything. And so that's drop-offs. They're very important to the TSA.
The next slide's just a couple pictures of us from while we were kind of waiting around. The following page, though, there's a picture of our 9 freshmen who joined this year, and Mr. Eric, who was our male chaperone this year, who's also Kate and Mason's child.
So in the fall, there's, because it's not just the spring conference that TSA does, but in the fall there is what's known as the Fall Rally, and this is an event that's planned by the state officers. I should know, I was there helping plan. Anyways, and so that is a kind of a leadership and preparation rally to get people excited for the spring conference, trying to introduce them to some new events with some new different things. I believe we had a speaker talking about giving a presentation on this app, which allows people to design their own games, and there was this company that was coming in and speaking to us about that, which was a lot of fun and very interesting. Yes.
No, I was just saying a question.
Oh, I thought you said question.
Nope.
That's okay.
Question's coming.
And after that, one of the very last slides is of Vex Robotics, which is another little side thing we do in our TSA chapter. We have a few kids who participate in that. I'm one of them, and what that is that it is an event entirely separate from TSA, but TSA is trying to incorporate it later on that we participate in. And that is, it's like the Lego Mindstorm, only bigger, more complicated, and metal. And each year there's a different game that changes. This year it was stacking cones and designing a robot to pick them up, stack them, and whichever team had the highest stack wins. And that's Vex Robotics. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great learning device for people to want to program and learn robotics.
So the last slide is just our thank you slide. We wanted to thank you all for letting us come in and speak with you. And that's all of our members. And as you can see, we have a lot of members, so we're all very appreciative. And hopefully, we have 50 kids in the whole SAU between Campton Elementary and Rumney. And so as we're growing, we're sending even greater thanks throughout the year. So thank you, guys.
And I'd also like to have special kudos to their advisor, Mrs. Tedeschi, who made this happen. So Beverly, thank you very much on your end too. Thank you.
It's actually been a joy watching them over the last 3.5 years. It was 3.5 years when we came to the board, and I
Correct.
was gambling, and I appreciate all the support that's given watching them grow.
Did a marvelous job. You said you guys made this?
No.
Oh.
What the gavel was is the person who judges the event chapter team. He handmade it himself, and so that was our reward, along with the trophy for.
So he donated this to the school? He donated this to the
Yes.
school? Hey, I'll hold on to that for you. Give it back. I appreciate that. Thank you. Nice job.
Very nice.
Do you guys have any questions or anything you're interested in, anything you want to know?
How does one join your group? Do they have to be involved at the elementary level, or?
It's incredibly simple. On a Monday after school, when we have our meeting, you just walk right in, sign a paper, and you're good to go.
I ended up joining about halfway through my junior year, and I was never in TSA before, but I really wish I was. So it's incredibly easy to join just at any point.
Did some of you come from elementary schools that had TSA programs?
Yeah.
I had done 1 year of TSA prior to high school.
Okay.
I can say my Warren, when I went to Warren, they had the chapter there.
I've been doing TSA for 8 years, and I was actually the longest running student member of TSA in the entire country.
You have the three longest running, goes Troy, and then myself, and then Cora Martin.
Cora, over there.
Very nice job, guys.
great.
Thank you.
Yes.
If you're as old as I am, you remember what it used to be, and it seems as though a lot of what you did was a combination of Dean Kamen's US First with the robotics competitions and the Odyssey of the Mind. Are those activities still, or has this replaced those activities?
This has taken over for some of the technical education programs that have evolved over the years.
Yeah.
And so they transformed it instead of being a tech ed, kind of like the industrial arts program. This is where TSA came from. So Dex Robotics is one component of that, but it's totally separate from the first robotics as well as the other.
But is the robotics still an
Yeah.
ongoing activity?
It is.
Yes.
Yes. It's
So
a major
it's a
piece.
separate
Yep.
Dex Robotics
Right.
as well.
Great job, guys. Thank you very much.
Well, tonight we do elect officers, chair and vice chair of each committee. And just looking at the makeup of the various committees, I think I'm going to start with policy and budget because there are more people on that committee than there are any other committee. So on that committee, we have Sam Brickley, Ross Deitchman, Maureen Ebner, Phil McCormick, Tim Narrow, Peter Pettingill, and alternate of Bernie Sullivan. And I will entertain a motion for chair from any of those members.
It's Ross, right?
Are you interested in serving again?
I nominate Ross to serve.
And I nominate Peter for vice chair.
All right, can we do both of those votes at the same time? All those in favor? Ross chair, Peter vice chair? All right. Thank you very much. It's all yours, Ross.
Were these originally scheduled for last night and we moved them to tonight, or were they originally scheduled for tonight? Are we on a new
No,
schedule?
we've, in March, the board said, can we combine the committee meeting to see how it goes for efficiency until the end of the year. So we'll be doing this until the end of the year. So in May, you'll have your first meeting, just board, and the second meeting with the committees all. It was for efficiency.
So we have the minutes from the meeting of March 20th attached. Any objections, corrections, improvements? If not, they'll stand as printed. Ashland School District's memorandum of understanding, I guess we're going to take that up tonight?
Well, it was introduced at the April meeting, the March, which month is this? The March meeting, and actually was tabled until you came back, and then
Let's make this a number one agenda item on at the May meeting.
At May, okay, that's
All
fine.
right. Revenue and appropriations updates.
Yes, and hand out for those of you that don't have. Sort of at the end of the third quarter, quick review. All of you know revenues that we need to collect all our revenues, or we either have to cut some spending or we have an issue. So I'm pleased to tell you, we're doing pretty well at the three-quarter poll. You can see, obviously, unreserved fund balance was in-house money. Our catastrophic aid came in just a touch below what we expected. Equitable ed has all come in, and that's a little bit more than we expected. Vocational tuition is in the ballpark. And again, those are all from state sources, and for that category, we're down $1,004. From federal sources, Medicaid, at the three-quarter poll, we're ahead of schedule, quite frankly. That's a pretty good number because it's a late arriving revenue. IDEA, that's special ed, that's at 78%. We're pleased with that. Title I is at 98%. And so we're right on target with those numbers. You can see tuition, we expected $450,000. We have in-house $498, we billed $512. So we're doing very well there. Vocational tuition, that would be money from Newfound, and based on enrollment, that's what we're getting. Earnings on investment is doing well. Co-curricular will be determined whether we need to transfer that money or not. And then the sped borrowing and tuition, sped borrowing, that will be offset by not expending the payback on the appropriation side. And thermal recs, that's the first one, and Dan Rossner has sent out a bill for the sale of the thermal recs for the second half of the year, so that will be money coming in, so we're in pretty good shape. You can go down through, Perkins Grant is in, Title VI is halfway here, Adult Basic Ed is in, and then we have some other smaller federal grants that have come in. So as you can see, all in all, we're doing well. And down under assessments, you can see the percentages paid by the individual communities, led by Wentworth at 80% of their money is in, and you can see the rest of the group. So all in all, very pleased with where the revenues are. Any questions on revenues?
Anyone? Mark is showing $353,000 on the other, in the local revenues. What is that?
That's money that we have taken from your, from the bank. You have a letter of credit, and we have taken that money to help offset payments, some of the early payments on the building project. Because we haven't gone out for the bond yet.
And we don't expect that money that we're gonna get all of that 8 million this year anyway, right?
No. So that will be kept in its own separate enterprise fund.
Any other questions on Mark's report regarding the appropriations and revenue? Maybe the revenue. Okay.
Passing it up.
Other business?
I don't have any other business. I would add that the memo of understanding with SAU 2 and SAU 48 will be on your SAU agenda in May, and the executive committee will be getting that shortly so that they can review that to make a recommendation. That's the other side. As you remember, the agreement's been broken into 2. So, and then the other issue was alcohol and tobacco policy, which my understanding is, Mr. Brickley, we want to send that off to retreat.
To the retreat, yes.
Yep, so we can take care of that. That's the only other thing in the committee, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else? Any of the committee members or any of the board members want to bring up for the policy and budget committee? No? Stand adjourned.
Thank you, Ross. I think we'll go into program and staffing next, and the people who are here on that committee are Maureen and Phil. Lisa, you're an alternate, so I'll have you step in. And then I guess I'll be an alternate also. Now, I will say that Maureen has offered to chair that committee, and Phil has offered...
Somebody wants to do.
I didn't ask.
No, I know, doesn't.
And Phil has offered to be vice chair, so if you would like to nominate them.
So I will nominate Wagner as chair for SCC. Well, no, I'd like to make a motion for SCC, for Maureen to be the chair of program and staffing. Two together, do you want to do them together?
Yeah.
Okay. With Phil McCormick is going to be the vice chair.
So all those in favor? Aye. All right, Maureen, all yours. Thank you.
Agenda review and disposition.
All set, Madam Chair.
I just want to make sure that.
Minutes, unless there are any changes, they will be approved as written. A couple of us here. Assembly update.
Mr. Parsons?
Yes, Madam Chair. Because of construction, I've had to move some assemblies around, so if you could just bear with me. The first one is the underclass awards. I think that's slated, that wasn't in that room? Oh, yeah, he's doing it. I'm sorry. I got a craft advisory going on at the same time. May 22nd was the underclass awards, usually held in the gym. We usually do that. We honor the 9, 10, 11 individual students from each class. Teachers are nominate one student. Because I will not be able to have the public into the gym because of the construction, I'm going to move that to the nighttime. That's the 22nd, and that will be just the, the downside of that will just be the students who are receiving the award and their parents on that one. That'll be the 22nd at 6 o'clock.
Where will you have
That will be in the auditorium.
in the auditorium?
The senior yearbook assembly, I will be able to host that because the public is technically not, they don't come to that. And I'll be able to have the entire school. That will go on as scheduled. And I think that's the 23rd. One of them, the spring concert, I don't have the date right in front of me now, Jim. That's the 23rd. Usually we have that in the gym where we're inviting the public, cannot do. So the Plymouth State College University has generously gave me a discount. So we will be hosting the spring concert at 7 o'clock at Silver Arts Hall. So that will be different. And I've gotten all this information out to the parents. The quarter has ended, third quarter, and we mail those report cards home. We don't let the students take those home. And I have a pretty large newsletter going home with that, with all the change in the dates. Those are the three major ones. Last week, I got together with the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, and I've hired a speaker, a well-known speaker, to come in and address our vaping situation. That's going to be May 10th. I don't have all the details boned up yet. I'm still working with the actual speaker himself, but I'm anticipating that will be the 10th, and I will host that for the school assembly, for the full school in the gym. I'm working with the superintendent, the assistant, possibility of entertaining grades 6 through 8 throughout that, and then with the possibility of hosting a parent forum at the nighttime, if I can work that out with the speaker. But I definitely am looking at the 10th for that to happen. I will come back with you with more details on that as we proceed. But as you well know, it's an issue. It's an issue that every school is dealing with, so we want to be as proactive as we can and get that message out there. And this guy delivers it in a little different way, an entertaining way. I've worked with Katie, and I'm working with them. They really put me in touch with this gentleman. Did a wonderful job down at Oyster River, so I'm trying to bone up and get him up here in RD. Those are everything else. Graduation, I'm pretty much boned up on the down at the Allwell. So we've worked out all those details on that. I've just got a few other details I'm working out. But again, I want to publicly give kudos to Plymouth University. They have really come through in helping us as we work through a lot of our construction work. They did a wonderful job of entertaining our seniors. They took our seniors on the day that we did the SAT testing for 9, 10, and 11. They took the entire class and they entertained them pretty much a whole day. They fed them breakfast and they fed them lunch, where we put on a number of our senior seminars, but they allowed us to do it at their facilities. And keep in mind, they were on spring break. And I think they enjoyed it too, and it's something I would like to continue with the board approval as we move forward. I don't know those dates as they come up with the assessment on what they were, but the college said they were more than willing to work with me, even if they're in session. But again, many thanks to the college in allowing us to have that happen. Questions on any of the assemblies that have moved around, or it's going to be a challenge, but we'll get through it.
Thank you very much. Scheduling 18-19?
Yep, I had sent Mr. Price and Mr. Austin off to a conference. It happened to be in San Diego. We're a Power School. That's that new program that we're using. The only piece that we hadn't perfected was the scheduling piece. We used the old Win School model. So Bob, and I wanted somebody else just other than Bob to know the features of that, and they came back after a 4-day seminar and have that perfected. I'm not ready to go forward yet to give the students their schedules yet. I still have to work out some details. Again, it involves around construction, but once I finalize that schedule and sit down with the superintendent and work out the numbers, I do plan on giving that schedule to the kids so they can make their changes once they see what they're signed up for. They make sure that they're carrying enough credits and they've got the right schedule and the class that they want to be in. But I hope to do that either the second or third week in May, so the kids will have plenty of time to make those changes while guidance is here, and that could be perfected. But it is done, but I'm not ready to release it yet because I still have some concerns based around room changes and that I don't know what's going to happen till I need to see a little more down the road on the construction piece.
Any questions? Okay. Any ASC update?
Kudos to the staff. We've completed with their majority of the staff at last faculty meeting. We've given up all our department time in our faculty meeting to rewriting or doing the accreditation process. You know, we signed up. It's really a new process. It's down to 5 standards now. And last faculty meeting, we completed the last strand on 2, with over 96% of the faculty voting in favor. So we're able to move forward with that. Now the piece that has to be done, I need to take those recommendations from those 5 areas and come up with a statement that we can all agree upon. I will share them with you at your retreat as I move forward on completing that process, just to keep the board up to date. The new process is they are coming in, a collaborative group. It's made up of anywhere from 4 to 6 people, principals and superintendents throughout the New England area. They're coming in on the 23rd and the 24th of October for 2 days. And they're going to look at that report and they will make their own recommendations or whatever. They'll either say kudos to you, Bruce, and your school, or they say, you know, you've got to work on this, this, and this. They will leave those 2 days and give me pretty much a handwritten report card on those pieces. That then in tune, we have to fine tune and have that ready for the 2020 a visit that will be done in October. And that accreditation will, if we come through with flying colors, will take us to 2030. But I want to, you know, again, kudos to Bob Price and Tanya Orlando, who were the chairs of the steering committee, and Jason Conway, Patricia Rella, Julie Fogarty, Jen Carey, and I'm missing just one person, I can't think at the moment, but they led their groups, and kudos to the staff. They're completing and getting it done within the time frame that we gave them, because this was obviously brand new for us. We agreed, we're a 2-year ahead of us, so we're in full speed, we're in great shape. Great, Chip.
Any questions for Bruce? Okay. Spring concert awards night, you mentioned that, are you set with that?
I'm set with that, unless you guys have any questions, and that allows us to really, have as many people as we want. I mean, Silver Arts can hold over, 600 people? Yeah.
Okay. Super, and future meetings on May 5th and June 19th. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
We're adjourned.
All right, facilities, I think will hold. We only have 2 members here, plus me as an alternate. Can we,
Let me just give you, you don't need to vote on anything, we'll just give you an update, just sort of follow the agenda, so
well, if Lisa wants to,
it's informational only.
yeah, if you want to run with it
Okay.
for now,
Well,
That would
that'd
be
be
at
great.
facilities, I believe.
Well, not till you're elected.
Yeah, well, so we have to do that, or do you want to wait, or?
There aren't enough people to vote, so if you would just run
So I'm
the
running.
meeting today.
All right, so committee reorganizations.
Yeah, we don't need to do that tonight.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
Update on land, I think I passed out to all the members a letter from Paul Weiser, who represented the district in the closing on the Fletcher land. So you have a copy of the warranty deed, and that has been closed. So it's been recorded as a prepaid expense in the journal, because the actual money comes in July, but the owner obviously wanted to transfer the land, so we did that. So that's all taken care of, and now you're the proud owners of 11 more acres that the district authorized you to purchase. CTE project update. The CTE center, the interior has been completely demolished. All the walls are down, except the only thing standing is the elevator. And so there's a lot of room over there. There's a lot of square footage in that building.
Looks like 3 huge gyms. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's a big-
Absolutely amazing.
Place. And the trom wall has been taken down slowly. Had to go very slow with that because of the way the steel was tied into the side of the building. So it was no easy project, but the crew did a great job doing that. A couple of residual issues from the project. As you know, we had to we shut the outdoor lights off for the basketball court and take the backboards and rims off, or just the rims. Just the rims. Because folks were just coming through the fields and then hopping over the fence to get at it. So it's an attractive nuisance. I understand it. Probably would have done it myself as a kid, but we can't have folks over there. So we took the rims off, and they're ingenious games that can be played without rims, but
But we also cut the electricity too, I think.
yeah, the lights have been clicked off. So we think we've worked with CCI on safety. At our last meeting, they were very pleased with the lack of traffic over there, and that was obviously one of the major reasons why we moved lacrosse onto the football field, was so that nobody would go on that side of the building, and also allow folks that had handicap stickers to come around, as they do in the football game, and then get to see the lacrosse game from that vantage point. So I think we've really taken into account everybody's needs, and it's working out pretty well. There were some amazed eyes at lacrosse being played on the football field, but that's for generations past. It's not about the future. So that's gone pretty well. And as I said, the spring sports update, that's underway. Baseball and softball were underway with until this previous storm. We got games in on both of our fields, and tennis is underway, and track has been out practicing, and they've gotten some time indoors at the university, so that's been a real help for our relay teams. So we're underway as best we can at the moment.
If I may just piggyback, Mr. Allen, parking has been not a nightmare. I thought it was going to be a nightmare for me. With Mr. Francis came up big time with this little side lot off in front of the north wing. we were able to accommodate approximately 25 to 35 cars out there, so the faculty make use of there. We put all our dumpsters out there too. That's a little challenge, but we're getting by. And then getting creative with the outdoor courts here, the old basketball court, we're able to park at least 25, 30 cars down there. We do keep Merrill Street open. I had a few complaints. I addressed those complaints. The kids have been wonderful. In fact, they don't use that piece at all. So I wasn't able, we didn't have to take parking spots away from the kids, which I originally thought was gonna happen. So we've been able to accommodate everybody so far, and mud season's coming, but I think we still should be in good shape. But keep in mind, that section is open. There is a stop sign that will not allow you to go up by the fence and that. Had a couple of issues there, but we've worked ourselves through in there. But all through, it's been, easy to work with. So we've been able to manage that piece.
All set?
Any other business? All right, let's see, so future meetings are May 15th and June 19th. That's it.
And we don't have enough people to adjourn the meeting, so
Can't adjourn.
we'll call it. SCC have anything to report?
Yes, ma'am. I'm representing them tonight on behalf of Mrs. Noyes, and I think did you appoint another person?
Lisa,
Please.
and I'm the alternate.
The SCC, as you well know, they worked on a proposal that you sent their way on a senior seminar, and after much work in an entire year, and I kudos to Mrs. Rella, who was the chairperson, the SCC voted unanimously to propose to the board the implementation of a senior seminar program to begin the academic year 2018-2019. Details of the program are attached that I have for you. In an ever-changing world where the needs of our students can shift from year to year, the SCC recognizes the importance of flexibility in decision-making for the coordinators of the program. Therefore, the recommendations outline the addendum only serve as guidelines. And basically, in a nutshell, they recommended the possibility of 4 topics to be approved by the board throughout the year, and in assemblies towards those topics would be presented to our seniors. Not a on-running class that would have had financial implications. So this is coming from the SCC, the recommendations of running a senior seminar in 4 different quarters on the presentations and topics to be determined by the board.
Any questions for Bruce on that? Now, is that something we need to vote on?
Yes.
We don't have the topics yet?
Yeah,
So
well,
they're going to...
The topics are, again, going to be controlled by you.
Right.
And so I'll go over those topics as we move forward, because, what kind of speakers we're going to have, what's the format going to be. It'll come from a recommendation from the administration, from Mr. Allen and myself, but the actual proposal of having the senior seminar in this format came from the SEC.
Okay.
Sam?
Is the board supportive of this? I mean, excuse me, is the administration supportive of this idea?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was, this had the least financial implications involved.
And also, we think it's a sound thing to do. It allows us, as the SEC said, to deal with any issues that seniors may be dealing with at any time in the future, issues we can't even dream of right now. But it also is the authority, recommendation from the administration, but the board has the authority to determine what those topics are.
And these are just guidelines of the topics that they gave, they're guidelines.
Ross?
While I support the proposal, certainly for next year, since we didn't have any way of considering any financial support for the program because we didn't know the program existed, it's still not what I view as
Correct.
the long-term need for this kind of a program. And so I hope that we will consider it again next year, maybe at the board level, of maybe taking a quarter of the seniors each quarter and addressing a specific topic in much more detail. We can still do the other three if we want to with assembly kind of things, but I'd like to see an opportunity for the kids to participate with questions and discussions and that kind of thing. But as a starter, I fully support this.
Can I also just add, once this is approved, Madam Chair, we will, and I would hope that we maybe discuss this at the retreat this July, but the SEC is going to need recommendations from the board of what they would like them to work on for next year. So they've concluded their work for the year.
All right. Any other questions? So all those in favor of the discussed proposed senior seminar with topics to be forthcoming at a future date, raise your hand. Looks like it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll let them know. Thank you.
Any other business? Phil?
Could I just bring to the board's attention, you may know, do I apologize, but I believe it was late last month, Denise McGlone was on staff, as you know, was successful in her defense of her dissertation, and she has earned her doctorate degree. And I think it speaks to her commitment to professional growth and the perseverance to get it completed successfully. So just for the board to know, I don't know if we ever do anything to recognize something like that, but it's a heck of an accomplishment. Good for her.
Yeah, thank you. All right, do I hear a motion to go into non-public for personnel and contract issues? Seconded by Phil.